Today we're going to talk about perimeter. What do you think perimeter is? How do we measure perimeter? An interesting fact, the word peri in Greek means around. So if we're talking about perimeter, we're talking about the distance around an object or a space. Our standard unit of measurement is length. So we could measure the perimeter in millimeters, we could measure the perimeter in centimeters, or meters, or kilometers. If we were measuring the perimeter of a book, we would probably use centimeters. If we were measuring the perimeter of your block of land at home, we would probably use meters. If we were measuring the perimeter of a farm, we would use kilometers. How we measure perimeter is different with different shapes, and it depends on how big the shape is. For a small shape like this, we would use our ruler. Now I've gone ahead and measured, and this is 5 centimeters by 3 centimeters. This one here is also 5 centimeters and 3 centimeters. Now when we're thinking about perimeter, we think about walking around the entire boundary or the outside of the shape. So we would be going 5 centimeters plus 3 centimeters plus 5 centimeters plus 3 centimeters. So the perimeter of this shape would be 16 centimeters. Let's say this shape here is a large farm, and this is 4 kilometers, 4 kilometers, 4 kilometers, and 4 kilometers. If I was to walk around the outside of this shape, I would walk 4, 4, 4, and 4, which will give me a perimeter of 16 kilometers. If I'm working with a triangle, let's say I have 7 centimeters on each side. This time I will be walking 3 lengths, and we know 3 sevens are 21. So our perimeter is 21 centimeters. You may have a slightly odd shape like this one, but our method is still the same. We measure the distances around the outside, and let's say this one is 2. That's not to scale, but you understand. We measure the outside distances and we add them all together. This time our perimeter will be 14 centimeters. Now sometimes we might have an odd shape and we'll have to measure around every length. But if we had quite a regular shape, like these rectangles, we don't need to measure every length. Let's say, for example, I draw in a rectangle, and this rectangle has a length of 6 kilometers and 4 kilometers. Because this is a regular shape, I automatically know that this end is 6 kilometers and this end is 4 kilometers. Together, this length here is 10 kilometers. And I know the other side is also going to be 10. Using my times tables, I know that 10 times 2 is 20 kilometers. So my perimeter is going to be 20 kilometers. If we were to have an odd shape like this, I'm going to have to measure every length. I may have 5, oh, excuse me, I knocked the screen, 2, 3, 2, 2, and 4. I am now going to have to go around and add all of those up to find my perimeter. Remember, the perimeter is the total length around the outside of a shape. So I will have 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 2 is 11, plus 2 is 13, plus 3 is 16, plus 2 is 18. So my perimeter is 18 centimeters. Now, the different tools we can use to measure our perimeters, first of all, we have a ruler for anything that is about a meter or smaller. And then if it's larger, we will go outside and use trundle wheels, which will count 1 meter at a time. So that is perimeter. Have a play around your house. See if you can measure the perimeter of your kitchen bench. Maybe you could measure the perimeter of your block of land. Measure the perimeter of your desk or of your bed, and see what different measurements you can find.